Good afternoon, traders. Welcome again to today is October 25, 2018. I just want to say good morning to each and every one of you. Good afternoon. And this is today's trade review. This morning it was an incredible morning wake up. And I have to kind of go over a few great trades that happened this morning. And I want to spend about 15-20 minutes going to go over there. Cool, Mr. Collins. We are also live in the chat room as I'm recording this in front of just a beautiful amount of traders in the room. So if we do get interrupted for a live trade, please understand the clients in Awesomecalls Trading get priority over a webinar or anything else I'm doing. And when you come in here, you're $6 a day. That's what you get. And so if a stock's in play or stock is hot, stock is running, we're all over it. So, okay, I'm going to go over a couple things that we did. My first trade. Oh, by the way, those that are watching the webinar, yesterday I told you I took a 2,000 share position starter on NEO down here at, I believe, $6.36. If you even took that, the stock actually came down to 626 this morning, and if you had bought and followed that call, today you would have made $300 on $12,000 with the buying power, just so you know. So that was just, I mean, I'm holding it long term, so, but hey, that's how you make money, right? And I gave you that one kind of like a freebie. So earnings is coming out the 6th, and I'd like to see hopefully a 10 spot on that. That'd be kind of nice. All right, B trades. And B, we're also going to try to, when Sergio comes in, type on the DM side that you gave me, type your email address, because he's going to make a special link for you. Okay, B? So you can keep track of all the people you bring in, and we'll have it just with your name on it. Okay? So you can have a special link. So that way I can keep track, you can keep track. All right, so when you talk to somebody, just say, hey, click my link. Okay? So going back into what we did, let's start with the famous trade that everyone's talking about this morning. And this one is Netflix. And as you know, I took positions yesterday, and the market was collapsing. And I felt very, very strong that the market would bounce today. I've already given my opinion what I think the market's going to do over the next few days, but I share that with the room. I don't really need to tell you what I'm thinking, but I have such a feel for this stock market more than ever, and I think it's my 15 years of trading consistently. I feel it better than I've ever had, and it's really paying dividends. You know, when you trade every day of your life and you read charts every day, and you actually help people read charts and help them understand the movement of a stock and why. You make an incredible amount of money, but you share your knowledge, and this is a perfect example of a payday for me. So basically Netflix, I started in about yesterday around the 310 area, and I just kept adding all the way down. Netflix has a tendency to hit a certain area on any given day. It'll come down 20, 30 points, and then typically it will bounce and before it has another leg down. And so I anticipate where the stock should probably go. I don't start up here at 320 and then start adding all the way to 3. That's not what I do. I look at it, I analyze it, I look at the market, and I feel like, okay, we're going to sell off into the close. I'm going to start here. Other traders are saying, well, if you think it's going to go to 300, then I'm going to short it or buy 305 puts. And traders in the room were actually doing that and just nailing this on the downside. For me, I was just building a solid position because I felt the stock would rebound to 315 to 320. So anyway, I woke up, and as you can see, we gapped up really nice. I missed the 311 this morning. I did sell some at 310. I waited for the pullback, and then it went all the way to 315, which is exactly what I said in pre-market notes that it would probably do. And I sold. And I think I did a screen share shot for you. I sold actually at, I'll give you the exact I sold this morning on my ticker 314,225 at 10:01 and 48 seconds. As you can see right here on the candle, it says 7:01 um, Pacific time. I sold it. Eastern time it was 10. Actually, Pacific time was 7:01 when I sold it. I sold it right here. It was I was so happy. So as you can see, I made a lot of money on that trade. All right. So, and then today we just felt that it would probably pop up, sell into it, and then it collapse back down. Stock has just done a basic yo-yo. I do think that it'll probably peak about here, and probably tomorrow we'll get a nice fade on it again, and we can get another buying opportunity. I do look for Netflix to hit below 300, hopefully the next coming days, and I'm going to play the same way. Right now, I'm not touching it. There's no reason for me to. At this point, I've already made my money. No reason to get in. If it pushes up here, great. But I'm going to be eyeing to the downside again. Okay. The next trade that we did this morning was Tesla. And first of all, we got to give a shout out to everybody in the option trading room. The great Jamie and Levi and the whole group in there, Anthony, I believe, Christian. I mean, these traders nailed this call. I mean, they were buying 300, 310, 320. I mean, they went crazy in there with their call buying. But because of they took the Citron report, they read it, they felt very confident, so they were buying calls on it, and they were just loading up. And with earnings coming out, and with Citron coming out 2 days before the earnings, something was up, and you know what? They took advantage of it, and they really scored big time. Now, what makes this trade really important, and if you're watching the video, is I was very, very clear 2 things yesterday. And you can ask anybody that is at Awesomecalls Trading. 2 things very clear. Do not short the stock into earnings. I was so adamant. I pounded the table yesterday. Do not short the stock into earnings. Don't do it. Unless you want to work at McDonald's, then I could just give you a job application. It's easier to fill out. And I also said, and I was very clear on this, the first reaction is the wrong reaction. Okay? You understand what I'm telling you? The stock will react, and the first reaction is the wrong reaction on the stock. And so, as soon as it pulled, I just kind of laughed. I'm like, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. That's all I kept saying in the chat room. Oh boy. And then on Twitter, it's going to rip City. Because the minute they yanked it, I saw it, and then this popped, it was over. So this morning's call on it, however, I was really short biased, and if you look at my call this morning, I was very short biased on this one. I wanted the stock to collapse to, I believe I said 305 and under, and I wanted you to short the top of it. So, and I wrote this in writing way before the market even opened. It was one of my first ideas. So I was suggesting to take short and then pop on anything at the open to 330. So I said take short here, and if it pops to 330, have a nice add in it. Your average should be about 325, and it should flush down to 305. And you can clearly see here's 305, and it came just underneath it to 301. Magnificent call, magnificently done, and really proud of this call. I saw this a mile away, and the reason is I felt there was going to be a lot of profit taking, and so I determined that the stock won't fill the full gap, but it'll give enough traders enough meat in it to make out a few bucks, and I was correct on that. So really nice play there. Next call on was a stock we call AMD. This made traders a lot of money. At the same token, it kind of really baffled traders just how accurate we were on this one. So there's Netflix, and then what was the other one? AMD and Tesla. Okay. So on this particular one, now as you can see, over the last 5 days, AMD, actually the last 20 days, the stock has pretty much been just selling off from its peak. And it's been a cold stock, so to speak, on its way up. If you look how it played out for the last few months, especially on the last earnings, it just ripped. But it also had a topping in, and you could see how it topped out, and then the lower lows started to set in, and just started fading day after day after day into the earnings, basically. Um, so that's all fine and dandy, and it's all great. But the way we wanted to play this stock today was simply go long. And the reason is because you have a lot of shorts in the stock that have been holding the stock for quite a while. And so what we figured was that shorts were going to go ahead and cover. And you could just look at the last 5 days. You could just see how they were building nice positions here. And so when you got a stock like this and you got millions and millions and millions of shares, the first reaction on earnings the next day will be that these short sellers will want to cover their positions. Okay? And you have to anticipate that as a trader. So this call this morning on AMD was really pretty basic one-on-one day trading. Gapping down 5.5 points, go long from 18, pop it to 20, scale in short. That was the trade. There was no question how I felt about this trade. Okay? The only question was, were you going to execute it? So, ding, 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 ding. Market opens, hit 18. And once it broke through 1840, 1850, I told everyone, just stay tight, stay with it. You are going to $20. No ands, ifs, or buts. Just stay with it. Right along the way. $20, $20, $20. And then once they hit 20, you can start scaling in short. Now, again, you're asking, AJ, I listen to you almost daily on your webinars. How the heck did you determine that it would hit 20? I mean, literally out of thin air. How did you figure it would hit 20? Well, again, it's trading for 15 years. It's knowing the stock. It's knowing how much, you're not going to short squeeze all the way back up to 22. It just wasn't going to happen. And I felt very adamant that 20 was going to be the spot. And of course, the valuation. You also look at all the multiple downgrades this stock got over the last, just yesterday, just massive downgrades. And I follow a gentleman by the name PSK, Jason. I mean, this guy just he spells it out for you. I mean, he tells you like this one said this one said this one said this. If you look at his tweet, I was just looking for the lowest. And if you actually look, he picks it up off his scans in the morning and then shares it with you, which, I mean, that's simply amazing. I mean, if you're not following PSK, then anyway, you should be. So you see how I was like looking this BMO $18. Okay, so I got RBC 34. I've got Baird 25. So I'm kind of just watching what Jason was summarizing and RBC right here in Stifle 34. And I just kind of in my head told myself, well, I think this would probably stop around 20 today based on what. And I really kind of emphasized, here's FBN at $30. I was really eyeing that 18. So I figured, well, if I take the 18 and take the averages of these, and you can see R just had 35, I figured this will probably pop to 20 and then kind of sell off for the day. And that's exactly what it did. So if you came in the market and you bought, let's say you have a less than PTD, and you took 1,000 shares, you literally made $2,000 in approximately, and you look at the clock, here's the open, bought at 18, you bought 1,000 shares, because AJ said, within the first 15 minutes, you already made $1,500. In the next 15 minutes, you made a total of $2,000 on one trade, and you're done for the day. This is the kind of room you're in. This is the kind of room you will join. All right? Let's say you couldn't afford 1,000 shares, but only 500 shares. 500 shares is 10,000 buying power and under, about 9,000. Now, 9,000 buying power in the world of trading is $2,500. It's actually less than that. It's $1,500, right? If you have 1,500 to $2,000, go to TradeNet or SureTrader. You get 6 times buying power. right? So 6 times gives you 10,000 bucks, 12,000 bucks, whatever, and you bought 500 shares, you still made $1,000. Now I want you to think about that for a second, what I just said. If you had $1,500 in cash and you went to SureTrader, right, and they gave you 6 times buying power, that is $9,000 to work with. And at $18, you bought 500 shares and used up everything that the margin gave you. You made on your $1,500, if you stayed the full 2 points, you made $1,000 return on your money. I want you to think about that today. All of you in any chat room that are listening to this, you could have made $1,000 realistically. Not, oh, this is after the fact, or this. No, this was fully given in the room. There was no ends, and you could have took your first point right at 19, and then I told everyone ride the rest. When 20 hit, the short sellers came in, and they just demolished it and took it right back down to 1870. And here's the 20 right there. Just an absolutely stunning trade. No ands, ifs, or buts. You cannot deny, any of that. Now, I don't know if your chat room even came close to calling that out specifically step by step, but this chat room did. All right, and that's what we do. I also want to share another great trade we did this morning. It was called GRUB. And we have an incredible trader in here by the name of Darkside. And he's on the mic in pre-market along with the great Janny, the art of the short, as you know, one of the best short sellers in the world. And he came in, and when I'm doing my notes, I've already got my predetermined plan. And so I was going to throw in the video. I figured, okay, probably pull that open to 194, 995, go long, take it 5-6 points on the upside, and then dump it. And I was starting to write all that, and I'm sure the video did exactly what I would have thought. And I had actually my thoughts all written down, but he came in with GRUB, and I just went, what? And he said GRUB down, and then he started giving the numbers across the board, and I was reading them. And I love GRUB. GRUB gets hurt on earnings, and I love when they get hurt because they're so easy to read, and it's an easy stock to trade for me. And so this morning in pre-market, the market, it pulled. Okay, and remember I always tell you, the first reaction is the wrong reaction. So the earnings came out this morning, and just kind of look. First reaction was the wrong reaction. You see it? And then the numbers came, and then boom. It had mixed results, and investors were not impressed, and so they punished the stock this morning. And that's how they punish the stock. Like, hey, we expected to do more, even though we're happy with what you did, and maybe you met all the stuff we were looking for. But investors are picky right now. They want you to do even more than you said that you could do. And that's why the stocks get hurt the way they do. They want nowadays on earnings, and this is for PSK and everyone that loves to play earnings, investors today want you to exceed. If you want to keep your valuation in these stocks, then they want you to exceed expectations, okay? And if you don't, and you just are in line or mixed, they will turn around and gut you, okay? Not to say you deserve it, but as a professional day trader, you have to acknowledge that and understand, well, how do you trade it? Well, how do I trade it? Well, let's take a look. Pre-market, it was collapsing. I immediately told the entire chat room, you need to go long at 90. The stock will collapse $90 a share. Now, when the great dark side alerted the room, okay, the stock was sitting at, I believe, right here. This was his alert. Right there was his alert. Okay, so he alerted the room, and it did the first pull. Now, I immediately got on, and I said, the stock will have another leg down, shred it to 90 and 92, 90 to 92, and bounce it. You got one more pull on it. And that is because I have traded GRUB for 15 years. For 10 years, I've watched this stock trade out. And I know the stock, but you have to trust me. And so, pre-market, some people came in and shorted the stock and took it all the way down. And if you can look, it hit 90 and bounced 6 points. And while I was doing notes, I was guiding the bounce on GRUB. Okay? Just a wonderful trade. And if you missed it pre-market and you couldn't play it, well, GRUB gave you another opportunity. Because at the open, it pulled again. And this time, ding, 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 it pulled the 90 again. See the 90? The 90? I said go long. Risk 1 to 2 points, go long. And sure enough, GRUB paid off again and hit 101 for 10 points. And then there was a third opportunity. Stock sold off again. Now we like to play, anytime we get a massive yank, we like to play the conference call. It's called the money call. This is the money call. And you could see that it found a solid base at 92. And again, remember my numbers in pre-market, 90 to 92. This time, before the call, it was 92. And then it bounced again. It gave you 3 opportunities to get 10 points on each time. This was basically, if you really look at this closely, 8 points to the downside, realistically, another 6 points to the upside, 6 points to the downside, 12 points to the upside, 8 points to the downside, 10 points to the downside, and another 10 points. It's basically a 40-point trade in one stock if you understood the levels of the stock. 90, 90, 90. Pretty cool, huh? That was given to everyone in the chat room this morning. All right, let's do another one. Let me see. We had so many today. Oh, we had a stock called MLNX just today. And I love shorting MLX on earnings. It's just a standard 101 for me. I always like the easy trades to give. And so on MLNX, I kind of just told everyone, I don't care what it pops to. It'll probably go 72, 73, 74, 75. It's going to pop, and then it's going to fade all the way to 70. It probably even go lower. I'd like to get 67, but the market's kind of strong. So I wrote that the stock would just collapse once it pops, and it always does because you get a short squeeze on MLNX. Anyway, they had good earnings, but I was reading the report this morning, and I was like, come on. You're not that good. I mean, you're okay, but, and it had a massive sell-off yesterday. So I was eyeing the 72 area pre-market, 73 in pre-market at the open. In pre-market right about here, I said take some short and then add on any pop, and because the pop will be quick and then it'll just flush down. And I was hoping it would get 70 and under, but I noticed as I was watching it play out, I actually told everyone cover at 71 and under, and then leave it alone. So I had to really stay glued to this as far as giving the proper guidance, but it did exactly what I said it would do. Short here, add on any pop at the open. And with MLX, you have to give it 2 to 3 point range. If you do not do that, you shouldn't even be playing the stock because MLX will rip you. And again, this has taken me 8 to 10 years to figure this one out. And now I just kind of look at it and laugh. It's kind of like when Netflix hits a certain number, I start buying it. And MLX is no different. So we had a lot of people in the room at 73.50, 74 averages, and the 75.50 fat finger didn't scare anybody. And they shredded it. And they got $70, 71 on it. So really nice play here. I think over the next couple of days, I'll probably just fade back and fill some of this gap, probably to 70 and under, and then that's it. So MLNX was really good. We did another stock this morning. I think it was, hold on. There was Bud, and I thought it would fade to 70, and then there was Twitter. Yeah, Twitter was a combination because Twitter I felt would pop at the open, but I felt that it wouldn't hold. It wouldn't hold the pop, and the reason is because user counts are down. The amount of users using Twitter has gone down, and when I heard that on the report, I was like, okay, this will get. Yeah, they did good in profits. and all this other great stuff. But as a day trader, as a trader, I'm only caring about what I think, how the stock will react for today. I don't care about the future right now of that stock. I just want to capitalize on where I think the stock will settle in and settle down. Okay? So with Twitter, first we want to give props to Janny in the room. Janny, the great short seller. In pre-market, and I think Palmer even tweeted this morning what Janny had done. Janny took some short here in pre-market around, I guess, 31.75, and he walked it down almost to $30 a share. This was in pre-market hours, and a lot of traders made good money on that. He was really happy with the trade. When I came in, I was kind of like, okay, I want to run this to about 33 a share, and then start leaning into it short, and then take it down to 30. I would prefer 29, but I'm going to get a sell-off on it. But I don't want to short it until it hits 33, and then I can ease into it and then shred it. And as you can clearly see, it did exactly what the pre-market note said. And the reason why is because I figured these short sellers in here over the at least the last few days, we're going to squeeze it because it got squeezed out here in the morning. I figured it'll probably get squeezed at the open more because certain traders could trade obviously in pre-market, and then once the bell opened, everyone could open up and trade and get out of their positions. So I figured Twitter would probably have a massive squeeze. So I anticipated that, and I told everyone, look for a nice pop at the open. Look for 33 as topping, and here's 33. So if you kind of went into it short, 500 shares, gave it a little bit more room, heck, if it went 34, that would have been amazing. And then just shred it down, and it came all the way down to, I said it would come down to 29-ish, ended up around 30, 80 and under. So nice trade. And again, we're just trying to capture 50 cents to a buck on our moves. And I really like that trade a lot. That was fun. So, all right, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll go over to one more trade, okay? And we had GRUB, Netflix, TLRY. I wanted at 100. Vine. Oh, take two. Yeah, there's the trade. Let's just do the great Janny trade here. Take two. All right, take two had an earnings play, and we got to give props to Janny because he called this out in the room live. Everyone, and he loved this trade. So as you can see, we had a massive sell-off the last couple of days, and then this morning it just gapped up and ran. I mean, it just went to Pluto, and shorts were coming in left and right. Plus new fresh buyers were coming in, and this stock just skyrocketed. I don't believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think it was an earnings play. It was just simply pushing, and Jenny liked the push, and so what Jenny did is he made a decision to short the stock, and so he let it go parabolic. And parabolic is when the stock literally looks like this. This is a parabolic move, where it goes and just constant spikes. All right, and parabolic moves tend to get filled back. They always come back to where they started. And these are some of our favorite plays to do. Just pop, and then just wait, get the topping, get confirmation, which is right here, and then shred the stock. And that's exactly what Janny did this morning. He called out, market open, the stock got squeezed out. You could see the top right here, and I believe Janny shorted it right there and gave it room to right here. So he basically called like 124 short and put stops at, he gave it about 50 cents to $1. He gave it high of the day stops. And he just walked it down in the room step by step. And he said quarter here, quarter here, quarter here, all out. That was it. That was his trade. I mean, he just wonderful. I mean, you can't ask for anything more than that. Just a really nice trade for the chat room. Okay. And as I'm talking to you, everyone knew that I wanted Netflix at 320. Well, that's a hindsight trade. Okay, there's 320, and it's coming. Yeah. All this is telling me is I can't wait for this to yank again, and I hope everyone will play this the next time because it's going to be so much fun. It is going to be so much fun. All right. Anyway, that is today's recap. I did Netflix, AMD, Tesla, GRUB, Twitter, and Take Two. And thank you so much for joining us today. And I look forward to, again, I am building up a long position in NEO. And I started here at 636. I will continue to add if it flushes down to these areas. My ideal goal on this stock is to get this stock down to this area here, and I will add just a ton of shares, and I'm going to hold it. And that's going to be my little baby, my little swing baby. And if it does hit 8 to 10, my goal is to hit $10 on this or more initially. But if we get a solid report on NEO, there's no reason to sell it. I mean, because it's just going to continue to climb. And I'd be kind of foolish to sell it. I'd probably trim my position, but I don't think I'd sell it all. And that's going to be so much fun. Okay. Thank you so much for joining us. That was a nice webinar. Thank you. And I look forward to trading with you tomorrow. Bye-bye.